Hello everyone, I hope you're all well, whether you're a subscriber, you're a member, whether you're Super Soul tier, Super Soul, SWZ, SWZ tier, membership or Patreon. We are going to try and keep this, and whether you're a subscriber on the channel of YouTube, we're going to try and keep this at YouTube's happiness. So we'll do that. If it gets a bit complicated, I will move maybe extension to Patreon. But as always, it can be discussed in lives on Patreon. So Elon Musk seems to have something to say to the UK, which means probably to Keir Starmer, but I don't think it's personally to him, although depending on how he reacts or how he has reacted, he might decide it might end up being personal. So I presume a lot of people have gone a bit wild on this, or like, you know, a bit bonkers Britain. Like, can anything be done to, oh, that reminds me, I think I saw a clip. Did I see a clip or did I save it to see it? I think I saved to see a clip. So I am going to pause to add that clip. If I come back with no clip, it means I couldn't even find the clip. And because I didn't quite watch it, I don't know exactly what's been said. So hopefully you will now be seeing a clip.
Force of the law of people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we will come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the yobs who are causing the problems for communities.
And so that clip was more recent than this content that I was actually gonna just read on. It just popped up as I was gonna read on this. So obviously if you're seeing this on the date it's done and all the tech is done, which sometimes can take a lot of time from me. Honestly, I'm not sure if people understand that a lot can go into YouTube, and especially if you're not a channel that's making money, to be able to like make sense of dedicating the hours and hours and being able to make a little bit of a side thing where, you know, you can just balance with a part-time thing. So I think they're the channels that are probably 100k or towards that and above. Anyway, how are we all doing? So Elon Musk has said something to the UK. I think he made a comment that said basically the UK are heading for a civil war. And obviously, to be honest, I saw this coming out because in my reading of the UK riots, I said it all needs to calm down, because otherwise it's going to be fists clamped down kind of approach, and even those that are protesting are not going to be happy with the outcome, because it's not going to be an outcome they want. And now can I just mention something, because I don't think people are seeing this. This is not so much about my immigration. This is more about asylum seekers. And it's a twofold here. Now, why I don't think it's about immigration as much is because those that come here as immigrants actually arrive and then a lot of them, whether they've been in the UK for many years, so they see themselves as British, but there's ethnic background of like 20-40 years ago or more in other countries, or there's some that even, you know, their parents at the time of them being at university level were sent to university in England, either paid for university, stayed in England, worked, had their own families, they've had their own families. So they basically added to the UK and they've paid for everything they've got in the UK. Now with asylum seekers, they arrive, they don't have anything. And they get a homing, accommodation, they get all the things that a British citizen and more would get if they didn't have, let's say, a job, all right? And in the UK, we have a lot of people on there's veterans on the streets, there's homeless, a lot of people are struggling financially. And even the benefits for people that are trying to, you know, balance out the cost of living, it doesn't help, and it can lead you down to paths of trying to seek money, or probably positions where you're not even able to do anything because it's not even covering your basic food costs. And this can be job seekers, it can be anything. Yet these people arrive in the country and they're given exactly the same as a British citizen, if not more. And on top of that, they go on the same NHS list, which if you're like in London, you can wait 6 months, a year to see a specialist. You can wait a couple of years for surgery. And they're on the same exact list as you. So they're coming from, whether they're coming from war, and they arrive and they don't have any documents. You know, you don't know who you're dealing with. And I think people are not understanding this. So what then happens when they arrive in the UK? People like Keir Starmer are not able to do anything to send them back. There's the, I think it's the, I know it's the human rights, but there's something about the European, it's basically the UK laws and the European courts of human rights that we're kind of tied into. You can't send them back, and so you're stuck with providing these. And obviously if you're providing all this, then you are going to be a country that's seen as quite generous, and you are providing all this where they get the benefits and everything. And obviously many of them will have language barriers, so by when are they able to work? Maybe at some stage they can get work in the local pizzeria or something like that, that are of their descent or something. But it's less about, and I think that should be the discussion, where, you know, it's kind of like they arrive in, what can we do to change the law not to be included in this law in some kind of way, if we can. There's some that don't entertain this. I think, like, for example, I think Poland or Austria, there's some countries that don't, and they will send the asylum seekers back. And so maybe we can look at how do we do, and this is why I say to you, my channel is not only about psychic reading, and I appreciate if you can get the word out, because some people believe like psychics are just on another cloud, all right? And so a lot of people are becoming tarot readers that are saying they're psychic, they're energy readers. I'm going to do a case on Amanda Tony, and I must say there's something attached to her energy. So that's the difference between able to read and tap in. But also I like to be very factual. I like to also discuss facts and clear stuff. And so here you've got rioters that don't know what the hell they're doing. They're very frustrated. And it's not the way to go about stuff. And then you've got what needs to happen is there needs to be a speak about asylum seekers, clarifying, we hear you, we think this is about immigration, fine, but also asylum seekers. We are going to try and review and see what we can do. We are going to try and narrow down on the benefits so that they come back. We are probably going to, I'm just giving examples here. Some of the things that we pay for as taxpayers, we don't actually, which reminds me of something. We don't actually get back. Some of the stuff we don't actually get it back. What I mean is, well, what it goes to, it could be paying for like the politicians, etc. And then they say they put it in something. A lot of what happens is they put something and it always returns back to their own account. A bit like also cases like the McCann case, which is millions and millions, and it's for 3 part-time police cops. Now, please, if you're a police cop working on that for 20 years now nearly, and you've not done anything, you need firing. But at the same time, the complexity is this, I am going to get into. I've got into it before, but I will get into it a little bit more on the next Maddie McCann, because she has come through to me. So, you know, it's kind of like, it's saying the complexity to people in terms of what can we do to change that, right? And so sorry if you're tuning in about Elon Musk. I'm going to get to that now, but I just wanted to mention that, you know, like Russia, Poland, I think some of the US might turn them back, but I think some of the US are actually having a bit of a problem with migration as opposed to asylum seekers. So what is Elon Musk, why is he saying this? What is he getting involved? What's it to his benefit? Like, where is he getting this from? Where is he kind of making himself, I actually want this. Where is he making himself the person who can advise and get involved right now while it's all heightened? So what point, where is he coming from? Queen of Pentacles. I wasn't sure if that's in the reverse. So he is able to split the deck. Page of Wands. He is able to see the amount of frustration that is in the UK, and it's not calming down. You know, when he said this, it's not calming down, and it's kind of like seeing in ways how the government need to fight off this issue, because there's also people involved that are just not listening. It's kind of like taming the beast. How can you tame this beast that is getting out of control? Because it seems like a beast that has come out. Remember, I called the UK riots Jumanji, and that was really led by spirit, even though I was thinking to call it the Pandora's box. If you look at the global psychic readings, I call it the misled Pandora's box. So there's a meaning behind Jumanji, and a few meanings actually. So we've got, you know, also the Queen of Pentacles here. What resources are you using? What resources are you actually utilizing at this moment in time? Elon Musk's message to the UK is really him as a self-made person, but something about the smothering of others and the imbalances and the financial stress that is causing the beast. Now, I mentioned this in my reading that a lot of it is around financial stress and just a lot of things accumulating. We then have these cards, okay, needing for a fresh new approach towards something. When we see here these cards all together, it's again about unfulfilled desires, you know. It's about it's about also not seeing the small things and not appreciating the small things. So I feel like he also thinks that some of the UK people might be feeling that, you know, you're not seeing some of the appreciating the smaller things. But he also feels like there's been little breadcrumbs along the way that have not been noticed as frustrations building up. And there does need to be a kind of a creative approach to minimize this. Interesting major arcana cards. The Devil, the Temperance, and the Four of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Swords. What enables him to say this is that he understands the dynamics of playing with the devil and yet being a beacon of light and a balance in moderation in terms of finances, resources, and the basic stability that a human person needs. I'm not reading the cards, I'm channeling, okay? Basic needs are which again comes down to home, finances. He's also able to cut through the BS and see, you know, he can see the algorithm of what is actually bubbling in the algorithm. That is really interesting, isn't it? That could actually, he could actually sit and warn a lot of people ahead of time. What is bubbling in the algorithm, he can see it. And so he could see that this is getting very heightened. And I think it was a bit of like a warning, but it came across in a very harsh, non-bullshit kind of way. But he did mean it in good terms. That's what I meant, like warning. And there was a clear choice for him to do it. But the choice was to do it in a clear-cut way, all right? Or in a, in a clear-cut way. The problem here is that it's being seen as possibly a message of like a poisonous message, as opposed to something that could bring a harmonious partnership and a proper judgment of what's happening with the riots, which is around the isolation, the benefits, the money. This to me doesn't show migration. It is showing immigrants, but this is also showing like asylum seekers. But then you've got the frustration, like I mentioned, of the veterans and the people that are homeless, people that can't get health care, people that are not having enough money for food, yet these people arrive and they are able to build their legacy in the UK because they have such generous benefits. And it looks like the UK, the British citizens, are actually doomed by not getting the benefits they need. And I fully align with what I'm channeling, the message I have here. Now, just going back to that video clip you saw, can something be done to Elon Musk? Now, what happens with extradition, where, you know, you need to extradite someone from a country to a country. So can the UK actually bring Elon Musk to our courts? It would need to mean that what is done is an offence or against the law or something in the UK and in the other country, in this case, the US. all right? And so is it to an extent that could bring him into answering? I feel like this could be... So he said civil war is inevitable. So would it amount to the same? So we're looking at speech here. Can it be the equivalent statement in the US, or will it be seen as a projected freedom of speech and freedom of political speech, which we know is there? I think so far he's not... I don't think they can so far from what he said, to be honest, all right? If that's what, you know, some people might be like, is he going to be in trouble, etc. But he's able, through X, Twitter X, to really look at what is going off behind doors. And remember, I said things will get fists clamped down. And I think they're coming up with two-tier policing. What you don't understand, that this is not going to only be for those that are rioting, but it's also going to be a disservice to many of us that sit here and abide by stuff and either can see both sides, can see the pain, whether it's through the videos I do or in general, and at the same time, and this is not only applying for the UK, this will apply in many countries. So that's why I mentioned, don't just look at the title and think, oh, I'm not, you know, this doesn't apply to my country. No, it will apply to your country. There's something here that was better the devil you know as a message. So I think Elon was saying it's better you know the devil that's coming up, as opposed to it being in the background, and that's why he said it. And obviously when he said it, he's already seen it surpassing really at the bubbling stage, you know, where you put a pan that starts to bubble, okay, it's bubbling, it's heating, and then it starts to bubble, and it bubbles even more, and there's the white smaller bubbles and the foam maybe, and he can see that happening. So it is inevitable from what he's seen. He didn't mention it right from the get-go, you know, so what he's seen really needed to be taken notice of, but it probably didn't go down well. And then the whole response that Kia might have had is probably not gone down well, but we need to understand, and that's why I think a better speech, and maybe he has, around what can I do around the asylum seekers at the moment is this, but he can't, and he's a lawyer, isn't he? So he fully understands this, and that's why he can't do much about it. But I don't think many people understand that there's a difference between, it's actually more about asylum seekers and it's being clumped in with immigration, because it's not the immigration. Okay, maybe we should stop it for a bit of time. Maybe we should make it harder to get the British passport, but also it's asylum seekers that really get a lot of benefits in the country. So I just really wanted to emphasize that. And fist clamp down, like I mentioned in my previous readings, is correct. I mean, I think they've arrested Bernie, who is a Twitter person or someone who tweets, and she's the one that was the first ever person 60 minutes before to put out that this person was the Southport guy. What's his name? I always want to say Alex, but it's not Axel. Was from Rwanda on a Russian immigration boat. And by the way, I do think there's a bit of underlining issues around that country. Okay, so I might get into this in a later read. And his name was Ali or something Muslim that she tied to it. and she has put out in the past stuff that is very irresponsible. I don't know how people can do this, that sends people off, you know, off what they want to do, not what they want to do. It sends people off raging, you know, when they're already raging, it's not the time. But I don't think she thought it would kick off this way, but she definitely had ill intentions. Let's just see her intentions. Bernie, her name is. And she has tweeted in the past, very irresponsible, a mother. But let's see. Let's just put these so that I can also make sure that, because I feel like there's one card that needs to come out. Okay, so one thing is for her to have the fame, the recognition, and to send off, if no one's paying attention, light bulb moments where everything sort of comes to, I'm just going to make sure these are upright while talking, people that are even just not really sure actually start to have certain light bulb moments, but it's definitely for her. Because I asked for this card to confirm something, and it's definitely for her to just get more fame, more recognition. I'm going to split the deck, Two of Swords. People to not see clearly, people to react out of fear, people to react in resentment towards the government and the frameworks, which has happened. Okay, here, you know, people to really take a pause and not be excited about the changing government, to take a pause and actually question the new government that stepped in. And well, I think she's achieved it. People are not able to see clearly. There's major crossroads in this. And, you know, there's also the fear that's brewing underneath this is a big thing. But that's what we have in terms of Elon Musk. He could see it. He could see it from the algorithm. And also, you know, she's got a bit of ego base. She's abusing her power of her following. I dare say she got a big following. I think she's got a big following. So she's abusing the power of that. So I'm going to end this here. I thought that that would be interesting to see why did Elon Musk say that? Where did he come from? Was he just saying it from an airy fairy perspective? And we can see clearly what I channeled through with that. So one thing I forgot to mention in the global psychic predictions as well, I did mention about a lot more online, maybe possible restrictions. So I do think, and this is one of the things that I was picking up in both and the UK riots, the filtering around online and possible banning, which again, it goes down to things that you're not going to be happy on this outcome of. So are they going to be able to put restrictions on X? Yes, and it might be temporary because they need to get hold of stuff. They might ban stuff. I mean, we know within China that they've banned certain stuff in the past. So if you enjoyed this reading, please do support the readings you enjoy, support the channel, and you can join Patreon memberships. You can also give a super thanks, you can donate, but you can always comment, like, subscribe, which doesn't cost a thing. You can also share so that it gets out in the algorithm, and you can put as many comments as you wish to. But let me know if you enjoyed this, and let's see what comes up. Take care and bye for now.